we live? Yes. Welcome to the Friday Night Curry Club. I hope everybody is well, and I hope you are all looking forward to a lovely, nice, relaxing, chilled out weekend. Welcome to my kitchen. We are going to cook up a lovely, lovely dish tonight, and I hope that those of you who are cooking are going to enjoy it, because it's quite different. And it's quite unique in its flavour, so I hope you do enjoy it. As always, first and foremost, I want to welcome you all. So please let me know where you are watching from. Let me know if you are cooking with me, or let me know if you're going to be cooking later on. Last week we made the railway lamb, no we didn't, we did railway chicken curry. And it was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all of your amazing pictures. Literally throughout the whole week, I've still had loads and loads of them coming in. So thank you for that. And I'm really, really pleased that you all enjoyed it. And you enjoyed the food and your families enjoyed it. So welcome to my kitchen. Welcome to the Friday Night Curry Club. Have we got lots of people saying hello? If this is your first one, make sure you give me a big hello. Let me know where you are watching from, and let me know if you're cooking. And I'll give you a little shout out, because it's always nice to be welcomed.
Armin is in Canada, first time cooking.
Hi Armin, all the way in Canada, and you're cooking with us. What time is it where you are? I have no idea. I'm assuming you're a few hours behind. Welcome, lovely to have you join. Thank you for cooking along.
Got Dean is here in Crawley.
Hi Dean in Crawley, how you doing? Are you cooking? I hope you are.
Got
because
B from Dominican is here.
Hi B from Dominican, lovely to have you join. Thank you for joining me.
She said, back on time for Harry's Live Cooking, made your dish last week, it was amazing, the family loved it.
Yay, lovely to hear that. I'm so pleased that all your family enjoyed it. That's amazing. Good to hear, good to know.
We've got Richard's here in Germany.
Hi Richard in Germany. Are you cooking? Are you just watching? For those of you who haven't so far got your little Friday night drinky, make sure you get a little drink, because you need to wind down. It's relaxation time. Who else?
Johnny's here.
Hi Johnny, how you doing? Lovely to have you join. I think you fared better last week from the week before, which is great.
We've got Peter's in Botswana.
Peter in Botswana, oh my goodness, amazing, welcome, lovely to have you join. Thank you for taking the time out to join us.
Tracy in South Australia.
Hi
here.
Tracy in Australia, woo, lovely
Hank
to have you
is
join.
here, he's cooking.
Who's that? Hank. Hi Hank, you cooking? I haven't heard from you this week. What's going on? Lovely to have you join, and I hope you enjoy this dish.
We've got Yvonne is here in Ireland.
Hi Yvonne, all the way in Ireland. How are you doing?
Who else is here? Coco Boss in North Carolina.
Coco Boss.
Yeah.
Sorry if we've pronounced that wrong. In North Carolina.
Yep.
Yay.
Roger and Max are cooking.
Hi Rog. Hi Max. Are you cooking?
Yeah.
I want to see pictures. This is quite a hot and spicy one. Rog, I'm worried about you. Nice. Who else?
We've got Richard from earlier said, I'm watching but going to make black pepper chicken fry later on today.
Yum. Okay, so you're just watching, picking up some hints and tips, and you'll be doing it later. Lovely.
We've got Felix in London.
Hi Felix. In London, nice and local. How you doing? Are you cooking? Are you watching? Sounds like we've got quite a few cooking. Hi Sue. I saw your burrata earlier. Get in there, slowly, slowly, lots of practice, keep it up.
Julian in Bournemouth.
Hi Julian in Bournemouth, are you cooking as well? Gosh, we've got lots of new names. Let me know if this is your first time cooking, because it can be a little bit, but hopefully we'll pace it so that you can catch up if you sort of fall behind or whatever. Let me know if I go too quickly, let me know if I'm going too slowly, and I will sort of eke it out so that we are all in the same place, because it's supposed to be fun. And I know if you haven't done it before, it can be a little bit like, a bit crazy. But the main thing is that you're going to end up with a really delicious dish to enjoy, hopefully with your family at the end of today. So we are cooking a black pepper chicken dish. And it's quite an unusual dish in that it primarily uses black pepper, which is, it's a different kind of heat from chili heat and from chili powder. It's warming, it's got a depth to it, but if you are not used to having spice and heat, then I would just recommend that you tone down the amount of black pepper that you use, because black pepper can be quite pungent. So just cook this to suit your palate. I'll talk you through all the bits that we're going to be doing, and I'll talk you through how much I'm using, and then you just need to tweak it to make sure that it's okay for you. What I don't want you to do is not enjoy it because it's so potent. So I think some of you have cooked this before. It's been on the website for a while, so hopefully some of you have seen it before. Lots of questions over the week. So one of the big things was, I can't find curry leaves, what can I use instead? If you can't find curry leaves, miss them out. If you can get your hands on some dry curry leaves, then just keep them in the cupboard. That's a great alternative. What I tend to do is, if ever I find them, or wherever I can find them, I will buy them fresh and I will pop them in a little tub and I'll put them in the freezer, and then you can just get them out as and when you need them. So I've got my curry leaves here. If you haven't been able to get any, then just miss it out. Okay, so is everybody with me? As we go through the session, make sure you use this opportunity to ask me lots of questions. This is your turn to get lots of information out of me. So what I would urge you to do is, if you've got any comments, any questions, keep them coming in, and my lovely daughter will read them out to me and we can go through and I will answer them as we go. I will talk you through what we've got going on here, because it's all very exciting. And then I'll talk you through the process of what we're going to do. So we are making black pepper chicken. So this is a Tamil Nadu dish. So black pepper is very, very common in their cooking. They use it in lots of different ways, lots of spice blends that they tend to make up using grinders and that kind of thing, that they will then use in their dishes. So we've got, there's three main stages of this dish, and the first stage is we'll be marinating our chicken. In terms of chicken, you can use chicken on the bone, so drumsticks or thighs. I'm using some boneless thigh because I want mine to cook more quickly than if you've got meat on the bone, just so that I can show you what it looks like. But meat on the bone for this is perfect. You just need to make sure you take the skin off and cut any excess fat that might be on there off. So we're going to be marinating our chicken first and foremost, then we're going to make a masala, and then we're going to roast some spices, get them all nice and aromatic and toasted and delicious, and then we're going to grind that up and we're going to use that in our masala. Okay, so if I talk you through what we've got going on here, have we got any questions coming through yet? Cool.
People are going, and tonight's colour is red.
We're red today. I like red, it's my favourite colour, so I do wear it quite a lot. Okay, so what we've got is, I've got some curry leaves, I've got some cassia bark. So if you can't get hold of cassia bark, a really good alternative is cinnamon. Very, very similar in their aromatics, but cassia tends to be a little bit sweeter and it's much thicker than cinnamon, it's more woody. I have also got a couple of onions, which that is key. That's basically what's going to go into our masala, with some tomatoes, and I'm also using some green chillies. For the marinade, I've got my chicken here, which I've already diced up and is ready to go.
We've got some people doing thighs on the bone and different.
That's fine. If you're doing thighs on the bone, absolutely fine. The process is the same. It's just going to take a little bit longer to cook. Just make sure you take the skin off your thighs and just cut any of that excess fat off. I've got in here some garlic. So I've got 4 cloves of garlic that I'm using. I've got some ginger, some fresh ginger, and I've got a teaspoon of black pepper. Just peppercorns, and we're going to give all of that a bash together, and then we've got a lemon, and that's all for the marinade. So that's the first thing we're going to do, and then for the spice blend, we have got these spices here. So I've got about a tablespoon of coriander seeds. I've got a teaspoon of cumin seeds. I've got some fennel, and I have got about 3 cloves of cardamom, and I've got 2 teaspoons of black pepper. Now this is the bit, if you are not sure in terms of your heat level, just stick to between half and 1 teaspoon of black pepper, because you've also got black pepper going into your marinade. I've also got a dried chilli as well. These are Kashmiri chili, so they're fairly mild. If you haven't got Kashmiri chili and you're using a different type of dried red chili, be careful in that you don't want anything too hot unless you like that heat. The other thing that you can also do is the green chilies that we're using in the masala. If you don't want it to be as spicy, then just reduce those, maybe just use one of them. I'm just being a little bit on the cautious side because I know that sometimes we can get a little bit carried away. Okay, so is everybody with me, and are we ready to cook? The only other thing I didn't mention is coconut. So we're using coconut oil to cook this dish with. Any questions? Are we all good? Right, we're going to start with the marinade then. So I've got my chicken already cut up there. I'm going to use my pestle and mortar, and the first thing I'm going to do is get my black pepper in there, because I want to give that a good bash before I add my other bits. So I've got a teaspoon of black pepper, and I'm going to crush that. So black pepper's quite hard, so you do need to give it a bit of a bash. Now be prepared to do a lot of sneezing this evening, because it will happen, I promise you. Okay, so as we crush that, there we go. Yeah, can you see? You'll start to get that warmth and that aromatic coming through. It's really, really yummy. Okay, so once they've started to break down, then you can start to add your ginger and your garlic. So just chop them up a little bit. It just helps you break them down in your pestle and mortar. So I'm just roughly chopping them, and my ginger as well. I'm going to put my garlic in first, and then I'm going to add my ginger. Just because if you put it all in, it just takes a bit more effort. So just start to bash it up. If you don't want to use your pestle and mortar, you can just chop it up really finely. You can grate it, you can put it in a little blender and blitz it. So anything you want to do. All we're trying to do is just break it down so we've got lots of surface area that we can then mix in with our chicken. There we go. Smells good already. Right, so my ginger's going in. Same thing, needs a bit more welly, but we're going to break it all down. That can go into. Now you want to get roughly sort of like almost like a paste. Just use a spoon just to get that out, and I'll show you what it looks like. Now, is everybody still with me so far? I know it's there we go.
Say hello to Dipti.
Hi Dipti, how you doing? Have you just joined?
She says, lovely to see you live.
Lovely to see you. Well, I can't see you. I haven't seen you for such a long time. Welcome to the Friday Night Curry Club. Okay, so that's all I've done. I've just bashed up my ginger, my garlic and black pepper. And that's all you're aiming for. Just a light sort of paste, and I'm going to add that into my chicken. pop that to one side, and then we're going to put in some lemon juice. So I'm going to squeeze in probably half the lemon.
Ruth has said, "It's my first time watching. My husband's family are Asian. I'm learning from you. We live in different continents."
Who's that, Ruth?
Ruth.
Hi, Ruth. How you doing? Where is your husband from? Where's his family from? Give us more information.
Richard asks, "Do you speak any Tamil?"
I don't speak any Tamil, so I'm from the north. This cuisine is very, different from the Punjabi cuisine that I'm used to, but it's stuff that the guys used to do in the restaurant quite a lot. So that's where I sort of picked up various bits, and just from traveling and so on. So there we go. That's all that's gone in there. I'm also going to add just a little bit of salt. Now I know some of you, because you've told me, have already done this bit and you're ready to go. So this has been in your fridge and has been marinating for a few hours, which is amazing. So you're going to get lots of flavour penetrating into there. I've also got loads of pips, loads of the lemon pips, which is not a good idea, but hey ho, these things happen. It's fine though, because they'll all end up on my husband's plate, which is usually what happens. Okay, so that's what we've got. Marinade done, really nice, really simple. I'm just going to leave that out just to one side for later.
Ruth says, "Pakistan, I've got a lot of family traditions to live up to with cooking."
I bet you have. I bet you have. Indian people, Pakistani people with their food is something very, very special. Okay, so I'm just going to tie my hair up. No, I'm not, because I've lost my hairband. Lost my hairband. Oh, as if by magic. Okay.
Andy's here. Andrew Sherman and Kim are here.
Hi, Andy. Hi, Kim. How you doing? Lovely to have you join. I haven't heard. I don't think you're cooking today, are you? I haven't heard from you. Okay. I washed my pan earlier, which is why there's a bit of water in there. Okay. So our chicken is marinating. If you were doing this at home, you could do that beforehand and just leave it for a couple of hours. But if you haven't got time, then just give it as much time as you possibly can. So all I'm doing is doing it now, getting my masala on, and then I'm just going to cook it. Don't restrict yourself. Don't think, oh, I haven't got 2 hours to leave my chicken to marinate, so I'm not going to do this dish. Just do it. Okay, so onions next. So we're going to start by making our masala. I'm just heating my pan up, so that's gone on. For the base masala, all we're going to do is cassia bark with curry leaves. Once they're nice and sizzly, we're going to add our onion into there. And for this, I want to have nice, thin, long strands of onion that will go really beautiful and golden as they're cooking. So just slice them as thinly as you can on their side. There we go. And I'm using 2 sort of medium-sized onions just because I want to get a nice sort of gravy in there, which I'm going to reduce at the end, but we want to get a little bit of depth in there. So once your pan has started to heat up, coconut oil, I'm using quite a generous amount, tablespoon, 2 tablespoons worth. That goes in. The reason I'm doing it this way around is so that I can get my onions on and they can start to brown before we make the spice mix, because this is where the time takes. This is, browning those onions is where most of the time is spent. And if you get this on more quickly than the other bits and just work out how you're going, the best sort of way to do it, it just means that it feels like there's less hanging around. So my onions are going in first, just to get that lovely golden brown colour. So once your coconut has melted, oh, you can smell it straight away, it's amazing. Into that I'm going to add my curry leaves. So I've got all of these curry leaves and my cassia. That's going to go in, and your curry leaves will start to splutter. Oh, that coconut smells amazing. And as soon as they start to splutter, then you can go in with your onions. Okay, is everybody still with me? Are we all good? Lovely. Okay. Now, if you're cooking this, I'd just like you to share with everybody else the aromatics that you're getting. So if you've used coconut oil, it just smells so fresh and so delicious already, and we haven't really done anything. Now, as I start to get those onions to cook down, I'm also going to add just a little bit of salt, and that's just going to help the process a bit. And we'll let that carry on. So the aim is that we get a bit of colour on our onions, so we want them to go nice and golden, and that will take about 15-20 minutes. So I've got mine on a really high heat, just until that starts to happen, and then I'll fluctuate the temperature a little bit. Okay, any questions? Any
Brumwolf
questions?
is here.
Who?
Brumwolf.
Brumwolf, oh, we've missed you. You've not been here for a while. Where have you been?
Said I use coconut oil for everything.
Coconut oil is great. I don't use it for everything, but I do like to use it.
Linda and Alan says it smells divine already.
Yay! That's what we like to hear. Okay, so I'm just going to let that do its thing. And then I'm just going to get my tomatoes prepped and my chilies prepped.
Can you just talk about what to do if you don't have curry leaves?
So if you don't have curry leaves, just miss them out. That's all I can say. There's nothing that you can really use that's going to replicate the freshness that you get from curry leaves. Just miss them out. It's just one of those things. If you don't have it, I know, and I do understand that it's quite difficult to get hold of them in some places. The only thing I would suggest is just getting some dried curry leaves that you can just keep in your cupboard. It's always a good thing to have. If you do find any fresh curry leaves, you can just buy them and pop them in a tub and put them in the freezer, and they'll last for ages. But if you haven't got any today, don't worry, it's fine. Just miss them out. They're very much a South Indian sort of ingredient, and something that's used a lot in that, the South regions. So I'm just going to prep my tomatoes. So I've got 2 tomatoes I'm probably going to use here. These are fresh. Now, if you haven't got fresh and you're using tinned, that's absolutely fine as well. I'm just chopping them up as, not too fine, not being too anal about it, just roughly, because all we want to happen is we want these to break down once they've gone into the masala. Keep an eye on your onions. You don't want them to burn, but you do want them to start softening. So there's my second tomato. Chop that nice and fine. Now, what we don't want to do is add our tomatoes too soon. We want our onions to get a little bit of colour to them before we add our tomatoes in. And the aim is that our tomatoes and onions sort of melt together to create a really delicious masala. So tomatoes are there. With my chilies, all I'm going to do is cut them nice and lengthways. Just cut them long, just so that they sort of entwine around the piece of chicken that we're going to be putting in there. So just take the ends off. I'm using 3, and as I mentioned at the beginning, if you think that's going to be too hot for you, along with the black pepper, now black pepper can be quite strong, then please don't put 3 in, just use 1 for today. See how you feel, and then you can, next time you make it, you can up it if you think if you think you can take a little bit more of the heat. But please don't think that black pepper hasn't got a kick to it, because it really, really has. In the way that we're using it today, it is quite a potent ingredient that we're using. Okay, so my onions are starting to get nice and golden. I'm gonna let them carry on over here doing their thing. I've got my tomatoes prepped, I've got my chilies prepped. Now in my little pan, I'm gonna start to saute, well, I say saute, that's probably not the right word, but just want to get a little bit of heat to my spices. And the reason I want to do that is so that they start to release their natural oils and their natural aromatics. And we're going to make a spice mix with this that we're going to blitz up, and that is going to be the key flavouring that goes into our dish. So I'm going to just talk you through what we've got, and I know I mentioned it earlier. So I've got a tablespoon of coriander seeds. I've got 2 teaspoons of black pepper, and if you don't want to use that much, just use between half a teaspoon and 1 teaspoon. I've got a teaspoon of cumin seeds, I've got a teaspoon of fennel seeds, and I've got a dried chilli as well. Now all I'm going to do is just pop that into here. When you're toasting your spices, all you are aiming to do is apply a little bit of heat to them so they release those oils and they release their aromatics. What you don't want to do is burn them. If you burn your spices at this stage, and I say this every week, if you burn your spices at this stage, throw them away and start again, because they will make your food bitter, and that's not what we're aiming for. Got questions?
We've got a couple. I ran out of green chilies. Can I add them later and just fry them and add them?
Yes, absolutely. If you haven't got any green chilies at the moment, in fact, it might be a good way to do it, because you can taste it and see where that heat level lies, and then all you need to do is just saute them in a little bit of oil and just pour them in. That's fine. Or you could even chop them up nice and finely, just mix them in afterwards.
And then why are you not using your whizzer for the tomatoes?
That's a very good idea. I thought I'd use a knife today. There's no rhyme or reason to what I do, but absolutely you can use the hand blender.
And then could you go through those spices again beforehand?
Yes,
please?
Before I heat them up, I will go through them again. I just thought I'd use a knife today, that's all. No reason apart from that. Okay, so I don't want my pan to get too hot, I'll just talk you through those spices again. So in here, I have got a tablespoon of coriander seeds. Can you zoom in so that we can see?
Zoom in, sorry.
So we've got a tablespoon of coriander seeds. I've got 2 teaspoons of black pepper corns. I have a teaspoon of cumin seeds and a teaspoon of fennel seeds. And I'm just using 1 dried Kashmiri red chilli. And all we're going to do is pop these into a pan, which is heated. So they've all gone in, including the chilli. And all I want to do is get them to start to just release their natural oils and their aromatics. And you will smell it very, very quickly. So just be aware, keep them moving, because they will burn very, very quickly. So don't leave them unattended. I can already smell them. They're becoming really potent. It's catching the back of my throat. Oh, they're just little beauties. Look at them. Now, when you are toasting your spices like this, you can see the smoke coming off there. Right, I'm just going to show you. Can you see that? Oh, smells amazing. If you're doing this at home, please share with us. Now, when you've got your spices like this in a pan, it's really important that you take them out. If you leave them in the pan is still hot, so that will carry on heating those spices. And if you do it for too long, they will burn. So remember to take them out of your pan. And I've put them back into this plate, and the reason for that is I want them to cool down a little bit before I blitz them in my blender. because at the moment they are hot.
Have you added the peppercorns?
Say that again, sorry?
Have you added the peppercorns?
Yep, so peppercorns, everything is in here. So this is my spice blend that's been toasted now. Yum.
Richard asks, what's your view on adding an egg to the marinade? Does it help in keeping the inside of the chicken moist and juicy and the outside crispy?
Adding an egg to the marinade. For a dish like this, it's not something that I would recommend. It's a very, so if you were going to marinate your chicken and then you were going to fry it before you added it to your masala to get that crispy outside, that's one thing. But for a dish like this, it's not something that I would recommend you do. It's not something that I do. So I do it if I'm doing Chinese dishes or anything that I want to have a bit of a crisp outside on and then very quickly saute off. But this, I want it to absorb the flavours from the masala. So I want it to soak up all of these ingredients. I don't want it to just be coated in that masala. So that's not something I would recommend for this dish, no.
Andrews said, Kashmiri chili, gosh, you need hot ones like mine, Harry.
Andrew and I have got an ongoing saga with chilies and which chilies to use. He has a whole array of very, very hot chilies, which is always fun, isn't it, Andrew? Okay, so is everybody still with me who's cooking? Are we all in the same place? Anybody want me to slow down or go a bit quicker? Just let me know. So my spices are in here and I'm just going to add them into my spice grinder. So all I'm doing is just literally popping them in. Including the chilli. Now that they've cooled down a little bit, and I'm going to give that all a blitz through. Before I do that, I just want to show you what my onions are looking like. Move these over, just so you can see. Right, do you want to have a look here? So they're starting to get a bit of colour to them, starting to go nice and brown and golden. Now with this dish, just because of the nature of the spices that we're using, it's going to end up being quite a dark dish because of that black pepper, and that's fine. That's exactly what we're looking for. And we want that depth and that flavour to come from the spices, but also from the onions. So do give them enough time to just cook down.
Walter's asked, hi, how are you doing today?
Hi Walter, I'm very well. How are you? Lovely to meet such a friendly chap. How are you doing? Really good to meet you. So my spices are in here. I'm going to give them a blitz. Ideally a nice fine powder, that's what we're aiming for. Now be aware, when you take your lid off your spice grinder, you've got black pepper in there, so it's going to go right up your nose and it's going to make you sneeze. But that's okay, that's part of the fun. Right, how's everyone doing? Give me a thumbs up, let me know if you're still with me, let me know if you've fallen behind. Let me know if you are struggling. I'm sure you're not.
Linda said Alan is on onion duty tonight and they're looking great.
Hi Linda. Alan, I hope your onions are doing well. One thing I forgot to mention actually at the beginning is, as you are cooking, please do take little pictures, because I love to see those behind the scenes shots and see how you're getting on. So do take some pictures, because you will be sharing all your photos with me either through Facebook, Instagram, through my app. I'd love to see how you get on and what you get up to in your kitchens while you're doing the Friday Night Curry Club.
Can you say what is in the spice grinder, please?
So in the spice grinder, we have We have just roasted some spices. So we had a tablespoon of coriander seeds, a teaspoon of cumin, a teaspoon of fennel, some black cloves, and a dried red chilli, and that's it. So we toasted those off in a pan just to get them nice and aromatic, and then we've just let them cool down and put them in here. We're just blending them.
Sue is eating burrata with a drawer from the other week.
Sue, are you already eating your burrata? Did you make the chicken? Have you made some of the chicken? Let me know if you've already cooked it. Seems like a few of you are well ahead of me.
Ruth said, you've got an app?
Yes. The app is very, very important, guys. So for those of you who are new, or this is your first time joining me, please do download the app. It's free. It's full. I think we've got about 300 recipes on there, loads of video content. It's all about helping you to cook better and giving you inspiration. There's an amazing community there, and it's a great place if you've got any questions to get hold of me. So you can ask questions, you can post pictures of your dishes that you've cooked and share with the amazing people that are on there. And there's lots of people always willing to answer questions and help as well, which is great. So please do download the app. It's free. Just go to your app store and look for Harry Ghotra, and you'll be able to download it. Okay.
Sue said that I'm still cooking. It was a while cooking snack.
A whilst cooking snack. I like it. Okay, so I've got a lot of colour now on my onions. Now, one of the things I didn't say is when you're cooking your onions, and if you feel like they're catching on the bottom of the pan, all you need to do is just put a little splash of water in there, which I'm going to do. Nope, my jug. Just to lift everything off the bottom of the pan, and it just helps it to start cooking a bit. And it stops it from burning. It just means you're not having to put any more oil in there, because that's not what we want to be doing, not really. So those of you who have marinated your chicken beforehand, how is it looking? It should be looking pretty fine. Now, the whole purpose of marinating your chicken is really to infuse flavour into it. It's also to soften it a little bit. And if you think about back in the day, why people would marinate, especially chicken in India is quite it's quite a hard meat, because it's produced in very, very different ways to how it's produced here. So it just softens the meat, and it just allows it to become really nice and tender. So that's why you do it. I'm going to show you the inside of my pan, because I'm pretty much there. Now, can you let me know if your onions are looking nice and cooked through and golden and brown? I'll show you what mine look like. So they're quite dark now. I can't see. How are we doing? Can you tell me? I'll wait for some feedback before I move on to the next bit.
Robert says, as per last week, I used the skins from the thighs to make a stock, and I use that with my onions.
Oh, well done, Robert. Like it.
Sue's onions are ready.
Sue's onions are ready. Anybody else's?
Someone has said, I have to relocate to another state for a few months while my apartment building recovers from a broken pipe. I'm sad. I was cooking Indian every week, and now I'll be months behind when I return.
Ah, can you not log on from where you're going to? I'm sure you'll be able to log on. Have to send you food parcels. Well, that's sad. Hopefully you'll be able to log on and carry on cooking.
Marianne is making a variation and is a bit further ahead.
Oh, tell us about your variation. How exciting. Right, I'm just going to give the spices a final blitz. Now, my onions are ready, so I'm going in with my chilies and my tomatoes. And when you go in with anything cold, like your tomatoes have just gone in, make sure
the recipe on the app, sorry.
The recipe is on the app, although somebody did tell me today that they couldn't find it. I will double check. I have had a few technical issues this week. I don't know if any of you noticed. The website was down yesterday, and it was a little bit stressful. I had no emails, nothing. But I think we're back up and running now, so let's hope it all is okay. If you can't find the recipe on the app, just let me know. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time for stuff to sink through, but it should be on there. Okay, so all I've done now is I've got my tomatoes in there, and I've put my chilies in there. The aim is that your tomatoes break down and turn into a lovely mush, so that they blend in with the onions and all the spices that we've got in there so far, which isn't very many. We want all of this to just completely break down. It's really important that you give this time to happen. If you go in too early, you'll still have that acidity from the tomatoes, which isn't all that tasty. So we're just going to let this do its thing. And be patient, because that's really important.
Marion's doing chicken and red pepper curry, but has added some black pepper to it.
Chicken and
red pepper curry.
Chicken and red pepper curry, and you've added a bit of black pepper to it. I like it. It's nice to see you all absorbing some of the aromatics that are going on in our Friday night curry club. Amazing. Okay.
Someone said, the person who's moving said, I'll be watching but won't be able to cook along, so bummed. And then Sue said, carry on cooking. Sounds like a 1960s movie.
Carry on cooking.
Marion, she started cooking and then remembered the live stream, so it's combining the two.
Ah, so you've combined and absorbed everything. I love it, it's brilliant. Okay, so the tomatoes are doing their thing. If we move back to our spice mix now, so what you should have is a really warming, lovely aromatic. Now, because I've used Kashmiri chili powder, a whole Kashmiri chili in this, it's quite red in its colour, which is fine. Now, do you want to take a photo of it?
You're there for so long.
But that's what it's looking like. So make sure it's all ground down really nicely and you've got a nice fine powder, because that is what's going to go into our tomatoes just as they start to break down, which they've started to do now already. So I'm going to go in with my spice mix and a teaspoon of turmeric as well. So the spices go in. Pop that to one side. Oh, smelling good. And I'm going to put in a teaspoon of turmeric as well. Now this dish doesn't have any chili powder as such in there, because the warmth and the heat is coming from that black pepper. We've got the freshness coming from the green chilies. So let's let it do its thing.
What is the brand of the spice grinder?
My spice grinder, this one. Mm-hmm. So I've been through, as you can imagine, many spice grinders in my time. So this is a Cuisine spice grinder, and the reason that I like it is that it comes with two of these little pots, so you can twist them and put them in, and so it's good for chutneys and it's good for small items as well as spices. It's called the Cuisine spice it's called the Cuisine nut and spice grinder, and you can find it on Amazon or any local hardware store that you might have near you.
Put a link in the chat.
Yeah, I can do. I can add a link in there. It's probably going to be an Amazon link, to be honest, because but they are very, very good. This is my second one, and the last one lasted me for many, many years. So I've gone back and bought the same one. I'm just putting a little splash of water in there because, and I've said this before, when you're using fresh tomatoes, sometimes depending on where you are, they can be really liquidy and really juicy. Sometimes they can be a little bit dry. So I'm just adding a little splash of water just to help them break down a little bit. Now, what you are aiming for is that all of the pulp starts to squidge down and break down. It's really, 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 really important. And remember, we added salt when we put the onions in, and we've also added salt to our marinade as well. So we don't want to put any more seasoning in there. And what you should end up with, or at the stage that we're at the moment, it's almost quite a dark looking curry, and that's absolutely what you want because this is a black pepper curry. So the masala is going to be really nice and dark, and I'll show you what the inside of my pan is looking like. Where have I put my, there we go. Just so that you can join me. Oh, and it smells really good. So it looks quite dark, but you can still see the tomatoes. Oops. The tomatoes haven't quite broken down. But it smells really, really good. Okay, so we've got a bit of time. If you've got questions, now is your opportunity to ask away, because we've got a little bit of downtime, which is always good. I've also run out of something to drink, so I'm going to have to shout for somebody to get me a little top up. So what's everyone drinking tonight? Have we got our usual Prosecco drinkers and our wine drinkers and our beer drinkers? What are you up to? It's all very quiet. Now, what I tend to do is I use the back of my spoon just to squash down those little bits of tomato, just to help them sort of break down and blend down. And what I'm going to do is just pop the lid. I've turned the heat down. I'm going to put the lid on. Because we're using fresh tomatoes, we just want them to start softening a little bit more quickly.
Have you added the ground spices yet?
So the ground spices have gone in, and I've also put in the turmeric as well. So a teaspoon of turmeric, all of my ground spices have gone in, and that is just starting to come together.
And then Hank's asking, did I miss the cassia bark?
So the cassia bark went in at the very, very beginning. So if I just talk you through the process again. So the coconut oil went in, the cassia bark, and then the curry leaves. Those just got sauteed until they get nice and sizzly. And then the onions go in, and we start to cook those onions down. Ideally, the aim is to get a little bit of colour to those onions. We want them to go nice and golden. And so that can take, I would say, 10, 15, 20 minutes sometimes, depending on your cooker. Cook all of that down together. And then once your onions are nice and dark, your chopped up tomato goes in, and your sliced chilies go in, and that starts to cook down until the tomatoes break down and it all turns into a lovely pulp. Whilst that's going on, we we toasted our spices, and we had a tablespoon of coriander seeds, a teaspoon of cumin, a teaspoon of fennel, some black cloves in there, and I think that was it, and 2 teaspoons of black peppercorns, the main ingredient. So just toasted that off just until it becomes aromatic. Let those spices cool down, and then pop them in your spice grinder and give that a blitz. along with a red chilli, a whole dried red chilli. Give that all a blitz so that you get a lovely aromatic spice mix. Once the tomatoes start to break down, your spice mix goes in with a teaspoon of turmeric, and that's the stage that we're at the moment. And I've just turned this right down, just put the lid on, just to let those tomatoes just start to break down. When you're using fresh tomatoes, depending on where you are in the world, sometimes they can be really mushy, sometimes they can be really hard, sometimes they can be really juicy, sometimes a little bit dry. So you've got to work with what you've got. And
I just want to read you this list of all of the alcohol that people are drinking.
Okay.
Just because it's...
we had an onslaught of comments. Okay, come on then. Let's see what you're all up to tonight.
Okay. Red wine, Romanian Pinot Noir.
Red wine,
Guinness. Sue's on nothing post-COVID jab. They recommend 14 days dry.
Oh, Sue, you must be struggling a little bit.
Linda and Alan on red wine and beer. If I say someone's drinking Foster's, could you guess who that is?
Who's drinking Foster's, Rog?
We've got...
Love it.
Felix, Coral Reef Cocktail. Gin and tonic.
Hang on. Coral Reef Cocktail.
I don't know what that is.
Right, you need to enlighten us a little bit. What's all that about then?
Richard has got a gin and tonic on the go, and he's using kiwi as a garnish.
Oh, you are posh. A kiwi gin and tonic. Take photos of your drinks, guys. I'd love to see them all.
Marian's drinking red wine, pinched from the neighbour, swapped it for curry leaves and peppercorns.
I love that, Marian. That's brilliant.
Tracy's drinking coffee and toast at 5:30 Saturday morning.
Oh, Saturday morning in New Zealand. No,
Australia.
in Australia. Yeah. Do you know what? If you'd had said to me, I'm having a glass of red wine, I think I'd have been a bit worried.
Debbie's drinking white wine, has been fighting off a cold.
Oh,
Johnny's drinking beer and Shiraz, but said, I'm not under the influence of alcohol. Andy's drinking St. Peter's Plum Porter.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Teresa's drinking a cup of tea. And that's the end of it. Maggie says...
no Prosecco drinkers. No. Goodness, no drinkers of fizz. Well, I'm on my own. It's normally Joni and...
they haven't said anything, actually.
Maybe they're not here today, but they normally join me for a little glass of Prosecco.
Old Pamela's drinking Tennant's Lager and Thatcher's Cider.
Wow, that's hardcore.
And we've got... someone, I think that's the end of the alcohol.
Wow. Well, do you know what, guys? You are all entitled to a little drink on a Friday night.
So, what was it? A Coral Reef cocktail?
Yeah, Coral Reef cocktail. What is a Coral Reef cocktail?
Oh, where's it gone? There it is. White rum, gin, lime juice, and grenadine.
Sounds nice. I like the sound of that.
Ranjit says, Izzy and I are on rhubarb and ginger gin and tonic.
Hi, Ranjit, and who? Izzy on rhubarb and
ginger gin and tonic.
Ginger gin and God, you guys are posh.
And then
that sounds lovely. It sounds really nice.
Marion says it's winter, too cold for Prosecco.
Oh well, we've had a lovely week this week. We've had a bit of sunshine. It's been cold, but it hasn't been too bad.
Someone asked, is there a vegetarian dish for this?
Absolutely, there's a vegetarian alternative for everything that I do. I think it's really important. I always give a vegetarian option for all of the dishes that we cook, so that it doesn't exclude anybody. There's always a vegetarian and always a vegan option. So what I suggested this week was, if I remember correctly, potatoes, and so I said mushroom and peppers would work really, really well. Some nice chunky mushrooms, but chickpeas and potatoes would work really well with this as well, because they'd carry the lovely flavours through. So yeah, there's always vegan and vegetarian options, because I think Indian food in particular lends itself to a vegetarian diet really, really well. So if ever you've got any questions throughout the week, if you're not sure, just drop me a line. Do it through the app, because it's the easiest way to get hold of me, and I will always answer you. Okay, so my masala is pretty good now. So my tomatoes have broken down. It's looking really thick. It's looking like a paste. It's not watery. It's not liquidy. and that's exactly where I want to be. So,
Gordon also has had his COVID jab.
Oh, Gordon, well done. I'm loving all these people getting their COVID jabs. I don't know how far down the list I am, but I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. But so good.
People are saying aubergine is a good substitute.
Aubergine. So anything that's going to soak up that flavour is a really good alternative to use. So my masala is, paneer, that was it. I said paneer and peppers, I think I said, and then chickpeas and potatoes, another really good option. So my chicken is now going in. So is everybody still with me? Because hopefully your masalas are looking just as good.
Debbie says I've just added the spices. Mamma mia, the aroma is amazing.
Yay! So my chicken is going in, and it's going in with the garlic, the ginger, and everything else that we've been marinating our amazing chicken with. Now, whenever you add your chicken, if that's what you're adding or whatever your protein is, turn your temperature back up to really, really high. And what we want to do is saute our meat or whatever protein you've got in there. We want it to get to that heat. We want that heat to come through. So let's coat it.
Ruth has asked, she said, aubergine similar nutritional value, calories?
It's probably less calorific value, I would say. Vegetables tend to be less, well, apart from your avocados and your oily vegetables, but I think it'd probably be likely to be less. Do you know what else would be really nice in this? Is shredded cabbage. That would work really well in this, I think. Sounds weird, doesn't it? But honestly, it would be. Right, so even though I do say so myself, it smells pretty epic to me. So what we've got going on in here, I've just added my chicken, and remember I'm using thigh meat off the bone just so that I can let it cook more quickly, so I can show you what it looks like. It's off the bone. I've got this on a high heat. Now this is a really important part of when you're making a curry. You make your masala really thick, really dry, almost like a paste. And then when you add your protein to it, you then turn it up to a high heat, because what you're wanting to do is sear that meat in all of those lovely flavours. So you turn it right up, saute it all off, get it all seared until it changes colour, and it goes like a just a little bit white, if you like. And then once you've done that, you then turn it right down to the lowest setting, and that is when the magic will happen. Because what most people would do at this stage is once they've put their protein in, they'll do this and then they'll throw loads of water in. So you've just spent a good
hour,
half an hour, 40 minutes making a really intense masala. And then as soon as your meat goes in, you throw in loads of water, you dilute everything that you've done, and you just let the meat boil away in that water. What you are aiming for is that once you saute that meat in the spice, in the masala mix, you then turn it right down to the lowest setting, you put your lid on, and you move it to a smaller hob, which I'm doing there, and we're going to put that on a really, really low heat. And what's going to happen is all of the aromatics, all of the gravy, all of the sauce, all of the juices are going to come from the meat itself, and that is going to give you the most amazing depth in flavour that you've ever had. Okay, so that's the stage that I'm at the moment. So that's doing its thing over there. What I'm going to do whilst that is happening is I'm going to do some very, very quick rotis just to show you, for those of you who haven't joined me before, how you do a roti, because it's a really, really lovely accompaniment to this dish. The other thing you can do are burrate, which are the fried breads, which I've done before. And I just thought, let's go back to doing a roti, because I know there's lots of new people that have joined that probably haven't seen me do that before. So that's what we're going to move on to do. Is everyone happy and is everyone at the same stage when it comes to their chicken? Let me know where you are. Have a little clear down whilst you're just finishing off your chicken. Get yourself a little top up because that's very, very important on a Friday. Have a little wipe down, and then we're going to do a little bit of Indian bread making, which is super quick because I've done a lot of the prep already. Okay, so how are we doing? I haven't had any feedback. Any
chicken in and simmering.
Chicken in and simmering, that's good.
All set, chicken in, masala looks and smells great.
Sounds good. Okay. For those of you who have my Instagram, you'll know that I think it was about 5 o'clock I decided I was going to make some rotis as well, which is quite often what I do.
Robert said, "Oh my god, I prepared roti dough today earlier."
Yes. Spooky. Spooky. So all I've got is some roti dough, which is Indian atta flour and water just mixed up. I'm just going to show you how to make a few rotis very, very quickly whilst our chicken is just doing its thing.
Johnny's got his staff to do the clear down.
Who are your staff today, Johnny? Is that the kids? I hope so. Okay. Right, I'm going to show you how to make this roti. So, a little bit of dough.
We have some new people. Maggie said, "I'm so excited to see how to make rotis."
Hi Maggie, how you doing? Welcome.
I think she's new. I haven't heard her name before.
Well, we haven't heard your name before, so I'm assuming you're new to the Friday Night Curry Club. It's lovely to have you join. Welcome. Right, so what I'm doing is I'm making a ball of dough in my hands. And I'm putting quite a bit of pressure on it because I want to get rid of any cracks that might be there.
Steve has just joined. He's not cooking tonight.
Hi Steve, how you doing?
Looks like something to cook soon.
This is a really good one to do. I know a lot of you, it's really lovely actually, because a lot of you will watch and then you'll cook it over the weekend, whether that be your Saturday night or your Sunday night. So it's always lovely to see these pictures coming in throughout the week.
Johnny says, "No, it was she who must be obeyed."
She who must be obeyed. The staff. Okay, so all I'm doing is just making a circle by pressing. Oops, I dropped it. Making a circle, and then a little bit more dusting goes on it. Now, what I've got going on over here is this is a tawa. For those of you who have seen it, they're Indian griddle pans, cast iron, and they're really thin. If you haven't got one of these, a frying pan will do, a crepe pan, anything like that that is round, that you can get in and out of very, very easily. So the reason we use these is because you can fluctuate the temperature really easily. And if you saw my Instagram post earlier, it's very much about getting your roti to cook through with hot steam so that it puffs up like a pillow. And that's the aim of what we're trying to do. So my tawa is starting to get hot.
Maggie said, "Last week was my first time I came across your channel. I want to try cooking with you next week."
Hi Maggie. That's lovely. You've only just discovered the channel. Well, welcome. Welcome to the Harry Ghotra channel. Make sure you follow on all of the other areas. The Instagram, the Facebook, Twitter, all of that stuff, because there's loads of information that goes out throughout the week.
What is the dough recipe?
So the dough, so this is atta, which is the easiest way to describe it is that it's the whole wheat germ that's ground up. And this is what we use in all Indian, well, the majority of Indian breads. And a really good alternative is sort of like a half if you use half brown flour and half plain flour and mix the two together, it's that kind of consistency that you're looking for. But you'll find if you Google atta, A-T-T-A, you'll be able to find it, and most grocery stores sell it. A lot of supermarkets now sell it. You'll find it in your local Indian grocery store as well. And that's what we use to make our rotis. Sometimes you can make naan with it. There's all different types of flours. If you if you look in the screen that you're looking in, if you look just below, I've got a merch shelf, and on that shelf is my ebook all about Indian bread, and that will give you all the information that you need. So have a look at that. Okay, so I've made my roti and I flattened it out, and all I'm going to do is with my rolling pin just go forwards and backwards. Every time it sticks, you stop and you just add a little bit more flour, and again forwards and backwards. The aim is to make it nice and round and as thin as you can. And then when it's about that thick, you just do this patty cake, which is really important. And then by that stage, your tawa should be hot, your griddle pan should be hot. Now this takes a little bit of practice because it's about the temperature, it's about how it sort of reacts to it. So it's not something that you will get straight away. I know, Andrew Sherman, you are a master at making rotis now, which is amazing. But it does take practice, and it does take you to sort of understand what's happening. So your roti goes on, and very, very quickly it will start to change colour, and you'll see it starting to change colour, and you get a little bit of smoke. And as soon as that happens, you just need to flex the temperature that you've got your pan on. Now, ideally, what you want is, you don't want any colour yet, but you'll see that it just starts to change, and then as soon as it starts to change, you then turn it over, and I've just turned my temperature up because I can see it's starting to cook on one side. I've turned it over, and just so you know, there's no oil on that griddle pan, it's a dry pan. So as you turn it over, you'll start to see little pockets of air, little hot air pockets appearing, and that's it cooking from the underside and filling up the middle with these beautiful little bits of air. And if you look on the other side, you'll start to see the little dots, the little brown dots. It's hot. Now, ideally, you shouldn't take it off when you're doing that, but I'm just taking it off just to show you. Now,
I've got it zoomed in on this.
Okay, so when you can see these little, now, when you are at a stage where you've got lots of little
bubbles,
sort of bubbles appearing, and then on the other side you've got lots of dark bubbles appearing, you then put it directly onto your flame. And that's what you want. You want it to puff up with warm, hot steam so that it cooks from the inside. And there is nothing more satisfying than a lovely, crispy roti that's soft in the middle and delicious, delicious, delicious in flavour. So what we tend to do is we'll break those, and that's what we use to scoop up our dishes with. So I'm going to show you again. Any questions whilst I am doing this? Now, what I would normally do with this, and I'll get my tea towel ready in a minute, is I will smear that with butter, and I'll pop it into a clean tea towel, and that will just stay warm. But rotis generally, they come straight off your tawa and you eat them because they're just delicious. Any questions, guys? So same process. I'm just going to get a tea towel. I'm going to put a little bit of butter on it because the butter just helps it stay nice and soft as well. So is anybody making rotis today, or are we just watching? Whilst that chicken, I'm covered in flour. There we go. So a little bit of, oh, I dropped it. I'm not doing very well today. It is Friday. So that is just smeared in that lovely butter. I'm just going to keep it, fold it over and just keep it in my tea towel because that will keep it really nice and warm.
Johnny said, how do you do that? It only happens to about 20% of mine. Same, Johnny.
Johnny, it has taken me many years of practice.
I don't have a gas stove. If I leave it in the pan, will it puff up?
So I'll show you how to do it on your pan next. So this is it's a different technique that you need to use to make it blow up on your pan, and I'll show you how to do that. Now, if just a few words of caution, if your tawa is too hot, it won't work. If your tawa is not hot enough, it won't work. And you will only be able to gauge that the more you make them. So that's why it's essential that gas is best because you can fluctuate the temperature. So
Sue says, I've got dough to make them, but I need to after I've eaten all my Bronte.
Okay, so what we are going to do this time is we're going to blow it up on the tawa, on your griddle pan. So same principle, your roti's gone on and it's going to start changing colour very, very quickly. I'm just going to have a look at my chicken.
A few people are doing them for the first time.
What's that?
A few people are making them for the first time.
Oh, you're making rotis for the first time? Please don't be disheartened because it is a tricky one.
I still don't know how to do them very well.
Right, so generally you only ever flip them. You just flip them twice. So it's gone on once. I'm going to turn it over. And this is where the undersides are going to start to get those little mottles of the brown colour coming through as it cooks. So this time we're going to blow it up on the griddle pan. You see how it starts to get these lovely bubbles of hot air coming through. Okay, so this time, rather than putting it directly onto the flame, all I'm going to do, I can see it's starting to get all nice and lovely. I'm going to turn it over and leave it on the pan, and with my tea towel I'm going to start to press it very gently. Look at that. So you can get it to blow up on your tawa. So that's a roti. When you blow it up directly on the flame, it's called a fulka. So there's slight sort of differences, but that's how you do it in that way. Happy with that? Any questions, guys? So I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to smear that one with butter and just leave that as well. And we're going to come back to our chicken. Any questions? Are you still making them? Do you want me to just slow down a minute whilst you finish what you're doing? Have a little wipe down. I'm literally covered in flour. How are we doing, guys? Oh, it smells so good.
Lydia's asked, how long can the dough be in the Friedelm? Best
In the
regards
fridge?
from Lydia in Germany. I think fridge. I don't speak German.
So with your dough, so generally, so when I was growing up, you would make your roti dough fresh every day, but it will be okay for, I would say, if you make it one day, it's fine for that day and the next day, but any longer than that, it's not, I wouldn't really keep it for any longer than that. So don't make a whole huge batch of it. You just make a little bit as you need it. Now I'm just going to show you what my amazing looking curry looks like, because it looks sensational. Look at that. It smells incredible. It's quite different in the aromatics that you're getting from a normal sort of North Indian style, because you've got different ingredients in there, different spices, different aromas coming through. Now, with this dish, it should be a dry dish, but again, cook it to whatever suits your family's tastes really. But generally what you would do is, so my chicken is cooked through now. If you're cooking meat that's on the bone, whether that be thigh or drumsticks, it's probably going to take a little bit longer. But all of that juice and all of that flavours come from that meat, which means it's going to be really intense and delicious. With this dish, it tends to be a dry dish. What that means is you turn your temperature up to the highest heat, and then you start to what we call bhun, which means you take the meat from underneath and you fold it over, because you're trying to reduce it and intensify the aromatics and the flavours in there. But if you like your curry with a little bit of gravy, you don't have to do that. But I'm just going to show you what I mean. It's really important that you fold your meat, because what you don't want to do is stir it and mix it and make everything shred and break up. So all you are doing is literally just folding it, but you do it on a really, really high heat. And that's all you want to do just to finish this dish off. It smells, whoopsie, whoopsie. It smells amazing. So I'm just going to finish it off by just doing that last little stir through. So how are you guys doing? Can you tell me if your dish is nearly done, if you still have a little bit of cooking time left? Because I'm going to show you what mine looks like, and I'm going to dish it up so that I don't take up too much of your Friday evenings and you get to actually enjoy the dish with your family. But this is what you are looking for. It should be really dark and moody and delicious and just really, really aromatic.
Julian said, my phone battery died, so I'm dashing to and from the computer in the study and the kitchen.
Oh no! See, always make sure your equipment is charged up. But I'm hoping that most of you are pretty much there. So this is what it looks like. Now when we talk about Indian food, we quite often will say, oh, it's a dry dish, and that in Western terms tends to have quite negative connotations, but we don't mean dry and as in dry and horrible. It means that it doesn't have a gravy, or it doesn't have a sauce, or it's been reduced so much that the sauce is clinging to the meat. And this is what you are aiming for. I just wish you could smell it, because it just smells absolutely incredible. So I'm going to dish this up. I'm going to show you how I finished the dish off. So what I like to do is some lime and a red onion, just some nice long slithers of the red onion. And if you don't like red onion, that's fine, you don't have to do this bit, it's just a little bit of a garnish. If you would prefer, you can just add a little bit of coriander into it, that's fine too. So I'm going to add that in. I have got some coriander, which I haven't got out. Do you want to grab me some coriander from there, please? And I'm going to put in a couple of lime wedges, just because you've got that pepper in there, and I just think a bit of lime is really going to help to lift the flavours that you've got going on. So I've got some lime, I've got some red onion, I've got a little bit of coriander going on as well, which I'm going to just chop up. Oh, I've just dropped a little bit. So we've done this, what time is it now? 7:30, 20 to 8. So we started at 6:15. Who says you can't cook a curry? And that's with me gas bagging and chatting away. So if you were doing this without me here, you'd have been done and dusted and that dish would be prepped and ready to go. So I'm just gonna pop that onto here. It smells so, so good.
Johnny's circular rotis are more like a map of the world.
Ah, so making your rotis round is a really, really difficult thing to do. But I mean, it's a rite of passage for most Indian girls to make a round roti. And it's something that I'm very proud about. So it does take a bit of effort, it takes a bit of love, but you will get there. The more you do, the easier it will get, I promise you. And if you if you go onto YouTube and look at my roti tutorial, there's a lot more detail on there as to how you can do that. So I'm just going to pop in some little bits of lime, little bit of coriander. You don't have to put coriander in, but if you haven't got any curry leaves, a little bit of coriander is just going to add some aromatics that are quite nice for this dish. Just pop that on there, and this scooped up with a few amazing rotis is just a little bit of heaven that I think everyone is going to enjoy. So I'm just going to pop these on the side. So there you go. There is your Friday night black pepper or Tamil style black pepper chicken. Really aromatic, really, really fragrant, and it's really actually quite easy to do. All you've done is make a masala, made a spice blend, and then you've marinated your chicken and you've put it all together. Super easy. The full recipe obviously is on the website. It's also on the app. And as always, as I always say every week, what I would love to see is pictures of your final dish, pictures of what you got up to whilst you were cooking with me. And please do post them on the app, post them on Instagram, and I will share them. If this is your first time, let me know what you think. Give us a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and give us a follow on all of our other channels as well. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a fabulous weekend. I hope you've enjoyed the Friday Night Curry Club. I know I have. And I hope you enjoy your dinner. So here it is, our final dish, a Tamil style black pepper chicken garnished with some onions and some lime and fresh homemade rotis to go with it.